to the podcast, hablemos de lo nuevo. 40Gs, G's que pasan el terreno. Vienen jugadores y se van, traiga lo nuevo. A huevo. Doesn't matter where you from, Salvador, Mexico, Honduras, Nicaragua. Todo mi latino, come and listen for an hour. TikTok, que traemos lo que quiere. Todo lo que pasa dentro y fuera de las redes. Really? You don't know what it is. Reportamos con la lupa what we see at the digs. En las buenas y en las malas yo diré la verdad. Si cometen un error o tienen habilidad, la calidad del rival cuando viene a jugar. Facts. Yo no me muerdo la lengua. Got love for the crest in the city I came from. Los campeones de campeones y con copas mi race. No empezamos, enfurgamos, soy la voz de LA One. Soy la voz de LA One. Love. Yeah.
Hello, hola, and buenas, and welcome back to another episode of La Cuna Galaxiana, a podcast made with love for all you LA Galaxy fans, wherever you may be worldwide out there, and all you La Cuna Galaxians. Thank you so much for coming back and hanging out with us and talking about some LA Galaxy soccer. Some first place LA Galaxy soccer. And as always, I'm one of your co-hosts, Rob Jalon. You can find my written work at Extra Time Talk, and you can find me online at El Escudero de LA. Today, as I mentioned, the first place LA Galaxy, we're going to be reacting to their win 3-2 over the Colorado Rapids at home on Wednesday, July 17th, the second of 3 games in a week, and a victory that was nervier and took more effort than the Galaxy's performance should have allowed, but that launched them into first place in the West. So let me bring back to you my co-host, as always, el yerno guapo, el gitano perdido, la palabra de Dios. Oh boy, first place, Ananda Kirana. ¿Cómo te sentís, papá?
Oh man, what a feeling, right? Like, Robert, if I would have told you last year that with 9 games left to go in the MLS season, that your LA Galaxy, our LA Galaxy, would be in first place in the West, I mean, I should have put a nice prop bet on that, right? Like, what are the odds? Like, what odds would you have given that at this time last year? I mean, little to none, I would imagine. Right?
Nothing. I would have said you were smoking more than Snoop Dogg, man.
Yeah. So the fact that we're in that situation is pretty crazy. But of course, we will talk to you guys and gals, of course, how we got there. But man, well, just like because I saw by the way, I do want to shout that out later in the shout outs, but that sweet retro playlist that the Galaxy put out pregame. So in the sort of spirit of that, it was one sweet day, my man. It was one sweet day. Sweet, by the way, is going to be my one-word reaction. I mean, sweet.
What song is that? One Sweet Day by Boyz II Men and Mariah Carey?
Yes, sir. That was on that. Well, yeah, I'll flash it up. I'll flash it up later for the peeps.
Well, I'm gonna hit you with that cube. Today was a good day.
Yeah. Was that a 96? Was that in the top charts of the 96? Anyways, we're trying to keep it 96,
I don't know if it was, trying to keep it 96. Okay.
Yeah. So that's why the retrograde playlist happened to be all the bangers. And again, I'll flash it up on the screen later. But you know what? One sweet day. I mean, Robert, more ways than one, right? Obviously the Galaxy won, our rivals lost, and we'll talk about that. And that's how we got to first place. And of course, the retro kit and all that good stuff. I mean, it was just a sweet day all around. I mean, I can't say anything more than that. So like I said, guys, that is my one-word reaction. And speaking of, as we're doing our housekeeping and all that good stuff, go ahead and put your one-word match reactions. And I'm going to ask Rob's for his later for sure. Yeah, like it's Chris, a throwback banger. I mean, there's a lot of throwback bangers on that list. It took me back, bro. It took me back.
I met that guy yesterday.
I saw. Yeah. Well, anyways, we might flash it up later. I don't know if we have that picture of you guys, but that was good, man. Finally got the Don Raul tee. So glad you guys.
Don Raul 96.
But hey, Baba, we got obviously we want to go through this game. We got a big one now coming up Saturday before Leagues Cups. So if it's
Eddie,
cool with
chill.
you, if it's all right with you, I'm gonna go through these through the housekeeping and all the good stuff, and I'm pass it back to you because we got a lot of stuff to get through. I mean, I know chat's gonna want to talk about it as well, so so let's get through it, man. So yeah, housekeeping, guys. You guys can always follow me, block me, or stalk me at Ananda Galaxiana, and of course, you can find us on all the socials at La Cuna Galaxiana. Yeah, and of course, if you guys are here in the YouTube and you guys like what you're listening to, go ahead and give us a shot and hit that subscribe button so you know when we're going live. And para que no te lo pierdas, el transmisión, like it always says in Spanish. I love when it says that. It's a cool like little thing. And like Robert says, put someone on, put your tios on, your tias, your abuelitas, your all your friends that you hang out at the cookout. Just put them all on,
Listen to this pod, yo.
Yeah, just put them all on. And by the way, if they want to listen to a pod featuring the first team in the Western Conference, first place team, this is the pod to listen to. So there you go. Just give them that. Hey. Like you want to hear to a winning team and a bomb podcast that covers all. That's it right there. See, it was so bomb that my mic like pulled up on me like that. I got too excited.
It said they not like us and started getting at it like birds fly off.
That's exactly it. Pero papá, como siempre, antes de olvidarme, buenos días, tardes o noches y bienvenidos a otro capítulo de La Cuna Galaxiana. And papá, I want to hear your one-word reaction. But before I get to that, it's Chris says refreshing. Yeah, just like this right now, because man, it is hot up in this. So definitely refreshing. That win was definitely refreshing in more ways than one. I agree with you there. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. The sort of next game mentality. What Maya always says about, the best teams don't lose 2 in a row, excuse me. There it is, man. So, yep.
So I guess I'll give you mine. But it's really just for like the first half. Blitzkrieg. I mean, these cats came out and stormed them. The 3 DPs, they did their thing. Really, there's nothing else to say. I mean, like the second half was just an exercise in managing the game. Kudos to them for not allowing any more goals in the second half. I mean, guys probably could have gotten a couple goals themselves, but that's just been a running theme all year. I'm sure Greg would agree that they have been leaving chances on the table, but at least they're making chances. So yeah, that's mine. Remind me yours. Did you give us yours?
Sweet.
Ooh, that's right.
One sweet day. Yeah,
that's
man,
right. That's
sweet.
The song.
Like I said, more ways than one.
It was a good day. It was.
Rosia says explosive. Was that in '96? That was a banger too. No, that was in
Chronic
2000. That was in 2001, right? That was in Chronic 2001.
Oh, anyway. All these good songs, man. Why don't we ever play music on this pod like lo-fi, like
copyright?
No, we can find royalty free, man. Like that's our commitment to you. We're gonna launch up the vibes another level, man. Like, woo. We got to have a little music, man. Music in our soul. The Galaxy played a little music on the pitch yesterday. Man, it was great. But yeah, let's get into it. Shout outs and announcements. The big one here is happy birthday, 11th birthday to Riley Neal, Jalen's little brother. The homie NG Melvin made this one happen. Shout out to him. So Ananda, I saw this. Sarah Neal, aka Galaxy Mom, the other day she posted that Riley had a birthday party, and although that people had RSVP, they weren't going to show up, and so I guess Melvin took it upon himself and to go out and show him a little love from the Galaxy community, which I love. So happy birthday to Riley! Happy birthday! To come for many, many years. And then I hope you had a wonderful day with your family. And on Saturday, the Galaxy will be playing Portland, and they'll be doing so in front of their most adorable fans, the Pups. The Pups will be at the pitch again on July 20th against the Portland Timbers. You know what? There's always talk of the 12th man. Well, this is the 13th Pup right here. So go ahead and look up more information on the Galaxy website for this. It's $50 for a berm ticket, dog pass, and leash, and you get to take your pup to spend some time and watch the Galaxy win. That same night, Man, we're gonna have some good rhythms in there. Mr. Nightbeat, aka Man Called Bigsby, he's going to be throwing it down on the ones and twos. He's going to be throwing down some strictly reggae vibes at the LA Riot Squad tailgate. Go ahead and get there from 3:30 to 7. They're going to be spinning the best hits. There's a couple of other selectors, it looks like, Coach D and Gabby Locks, but just shout out to Man Called Bixby because he's our buddy over there at the York. So go ahead and go check him out, show him some love. As well as show love to all the Galaxy creators at the next Blue, White, and Gold pop-up, which has now been announced by the Nyanos from 1-2 Threads. That's going down on Saturday, August 3rd from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Absolution Brewing in Torrance. Go ahead and get out there, guys. I mean, this is probably where you're going to find the like freshest, coolest finds. I mean, you'll have people like Move in Silence, who just did the exclusive for the retrograde drop, and they'll have exclusive items at Nikki Sports starting on July 22nd for them. You'll have, of course, the Niners from 1-2 Threads. I mean, you'll have a bunch of good food out there. You'll have some good tunes. So go ahead and get out there. Speaking of Galaxy creators, shout out to H. Dot. He continues to put out some awesome stickers. Gonna keep this one brief, but yeah, man, 1 in a million for sure. Aaliyah wearing that retrograde kit, love it. Keep them coming, man. Keep them coming. Liga G update. Ananda, so far so good for Lacuna Matata. Fill us in, man. What's been going down?
Yeah, I mean, still sitting in top 4, man. 2 hard-fought draws. This was not Wednesday, last night, because there was a Galaxy game last night, so it was over the weekend on match day 2. And yeah, I mean, we're playing well. Unfortunately, we were a little shorthanded. It was Copa America night, so I know there was a lot going on for everyone, and that was a crazy game.
We're all pedo and stuff.
That started late and it ended late, and it was just madness. But no, man, we hung in there, top 4 place. So looking to keep the good vibes rolling this weekend.
Playoff place. What have you seen so far from the team? The difference between this year and last year?
Oh, just experience of going through last year. I mean, I think we're all more familiar with how we play with the team. The vibes had always been good. It's just about the details, like even Vanny says. So there you go. That's all it is, man. Just a year.
Those small moments and the fine margins, right?
It's the fine margins, yeah.
Nice. All right, we have Gregorio Vanny Jr. As my co-host today. So guys, that's your Liga G update. Really cool that Liga G is doing kind of like an update video every week, which VGN has been throwing down on. They're really fun. And Liga G adjacent, EAFC 25 is dropping on September 27th, Ananda. So watch out for that. Who knows? We may be making the upgrade to EAFC 25. And I also heard that this is the first year that FIFA, like the organization FIFA, will be dropping their first title, which is happening with 2K, if you remember. So you'll have a couple of different options this year from EAFC and then FIFA with 2K. So I think it'll be FIFA 2K. I'm not sure. Who knows? But watch out for that, guys. So today MLS dropped some roster rule changes. These are big. These are going to give a lot of teams flexibility to really upgrade. And if you're fortunate to have a wizard like Will Kuntz in the front office, he done miracles on me, then your team is really going to take advantage of these rule changes. So let's break them down here for you. The big one is now teams can have 6 DP and U22 spots. Clubs can now use all 6 spots without previous limitations. So any of the previous roster rules or cap numbers that were hindering those are gone. You now have 2 roster models, giving teams better roster flexibility. So teams can either stack up with 3 DPs and 3 U22s, or go ahead and hit 2 DPs and 4 U22s. And if you do that, teams go ahead and receive 2 million in GAM. For the teams that are under this model for 2024, they get 1 million in GAM. The third rule change here is more transfer allocation money. Clubs can now convert 3 million from sales to GAM. So for example, like Atlanta just sold like 3 or 4 players, and they're sitting on like 50 million quid or something like that. They can convert now more than I think it was 1.4 million in GAM previously. Now they can convert more of that money, of that transfer money, to GAM and have more flexibility. So I believe the Galaxy have their 3 DPs filled out. Is Dayon still on the U22 Ananda? Do you know?
I don't think so. I think it's Julian. Who's the other one? Am I missing someone? Anyways, that's probably a question for the salary cap maestro. That's Josh Gessman. So I'm sure he has all the details.
Right.
I'm sure I know Julian takes one of them. I thought we upgraded Deckies. He was a U21. That's how we signed him. And now he is a fully fledged senior player. No, with no designation, I believe.
So, what do you think of these rules? I mean, implications, or what do you see Will Kuntz doing with this? I mean, previously he had one U22 spots to play with and some GAM, and now he might have some more resources to mess around with.
Yeah, it's Chris says it's Julian and Dayon. So yeah, maybe I was misspoke on that. So yeah, like I said, I'm not the salary cap maestro.
I
sure.
thought that Dayon is
Okay.
is now over 22 years of age, but when he signed his contract, he was under 22. So like it's for the length of his contract, not how actually old he is.
Yeah,
So so yeah, I mean, the Galaxy I think would have still that U22 spot to play with. Exactly.
Yeah, that I do remember. Yep.
Yeah, but now they don't have to like mess around with like, okay, well, we have to be under this certain number salary cap to make it work and stuff like that. Now they can just go ahead and sign a U22.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I think overall league wide, I think it just gives flexibility for GMs and technical directors, what have yous, to create their roster, and I think it's going to be good. I think it's positive for the league and trying to bring those next and up and coming young stars, whether we like it or not. MLS is still a quote, and I don't mean this like in a negative light, but a quote unquote like development, like stepping stone league, right, to either bigger leagues in Europe or bigger teams, etc. And so why not? I think this gives more teams flexibility to, again, bringing that next young star and develop them and nurture them to be a really, really good player. So, and I'm just glad that we have like the all-star on the general manager team on our side, because he knows what to do with this. I mean, the thing is right now, in terms of our current situation, 5 of the 6 sort of release valves or triggers are already used up. So we only have one U22 left, but that's not to say that in the next couple of years, he can move things around as he sees, the roster shape out. So again, good flexibility. I think a good move. I think a positive move. And I want to say this is one that we've known for a little while. It's just kind of crystallizing into like official. It's becoming more official now, right?
No, not this one. I mean, there were rumors about the league providing a second buyout, which didn't end up happening, and that was announced yesterday. But of course, this is all dropping on the beginning of the transfer window, which is today at the time of this recording, the 18th. The transfer window is now open. So I mean, it makes sense that it would drop today. And yeah, no, this one wasn't announced. They had talked about even increasing the number of like allocations, but I don't think they had talked about this specific rule. So, teams are gonna do murder with this right now, man. I mean, RSL has a DP spot open. I was speaking to Mr. Big Yikes, aka Fabi Rankel, and he's saying a team like Columbus might take advantage of this as well. So it'll be interesting to see what these teams do. I know the Galaxy were already kind of working the system and getting ready for this transfer window, because they sent their captain Gaston Brugman off to get his green card, and he has gotten it. So congratulations to Gaston Brugman, who has gotten his green card. That frees up an international spot for the Galaxy, who most likely will be spending it on some German guy from Dortmund named Marco Reus. Ananda, all reports are that it's close.
Yeah, I mean, Fab tweeted about it, and then I think Tommy Boger as well. He did actually a really nice video on it. I don't know if you want to talk about that, Robert. I don't know if you checked that out, but
Oh, I
I mean,
I unfortunately didn't, but I saw a spot on CBS.
yeah, right. And he was talking about it, and yeah, it looks really close, guys. I think the one thing though, from a sort of salary cap perspective, I think one of the things that Will Kuntz and the team are trying to do right now is to clear salary cap for him. I don't know what implications that has on any potential moves, Robert. I know Tommy Boger, and it's funny because I saw the Galaxy fan reactions to this, but he mentioned, he was like, if I was a MLS GM, I would be calling the Galaxy about Diego Fagundes right now. And the Galaxy fans are like, no, Diego is ours. Sorry, sir. But of course, and the other thing too is like he's got a pretty big salary. I don't know if a lot of teams are number one able to take that salary on, and number two sort of willing to take that on a player that may or may not fit their system necessarily.
Well, now teams have an extra 1.6 million in GAM.
Yeah, I mean Atlanta might do something crazy, but I just don't see that. I think he's too vital of a part of our team. I don't think that Will Kuntz is a guy that would get rid of it, and I don't think Diego would agree to it either. Like he's just getting settled here. Remember, he was busy getting settled in the offseason, and now I feel like he's he finds LA as home. But
don't take Diego.
Yeah, but one of the things that Tommy Bogert was saying that. Like I said, he's so confident, or he's hearing that they're so confident in this deal, the LA Galaxy. I mean, Royce is already house hunting in LA, and one of the reasons why he wanted to come to LA, and he has denied the Saudi deal because that was on the table for him as well, as just for his lifestyle, for him and his family, as he sort of phases out, and this is going to be his last contract of his career. And fit wise, he thinks it's a good fit with the possession based system that we have with the LA Galaxy, and he likes our style of play. So all signs are good, man, and I'm excited to see this guy. And by the way, just a quick little plug for you guys. That is probably going to be the next
rumor.
Yeah, that is probably going to be the next Los Galacticos video. I am hard at work on a Marco Royce scouting video. So if you guys enjoyed the first one with Gabriel Peck, and you guys are tacticos or like tactics and strategy and all that stuff like me and Alex, we're a bunch of nerds around it. Go ahead and, just stay tuned, and that'll come out. We will announce that shortly.
Well, Ananda, I did ask Greg about this last night, so feel free to use his answer about Marco Royce. But I asked him what a player like player profile like Marco Royce has, what he brings to the team. And he said, just experience, leadership, quality, all the things that we know about this guy already. But, he's always trying to be diplomatic, Greg, but, the shine was in his eyes when he was talking about it. So he's obviously an admirer. And like you said, so confident that he's already house hunting. GCam says, do you see Delgado being moved? Remember, guys, Delgado does have a club option right? For 1 year. Yeah. His contract is over at the end of the year. So right now, I'm pretty sure what the Galaxy is trying to do is tie him up for, get him the extra year, get him to agree to the extra year. Who knows if they're negotiating on contract numbers or whatever, but the Galaxy do have an option. So no, I don't see him being moved. I hope he isn't moved. I mean, you got to remember, Diego and Mark, they seem like they've been in the league forever. It's because they have, but they're still both 28 and 29. So, yeah. He's in the prime of his career, basically. I mean, he's still got at least 2 or 3 top years left in him.
I don't see a key piece being moved because to me that seems more like addition by subtraction, and I don't see Will Kuntz as a guy that would do that. I think if any chess pieces are going to be moved, Robert, it's going to be guys on the fringes of the team that have value, like a Johnny Perez, for example, right? We know a lot of Mexican teams are interested in, so it's more players like that.
They've been asking.
So that would be that I would sort of not necessarily get behind because obviously he's one of our own. It'd be a tough loss, but it'd be one of those things where you kind of have to do it rather than sort of hurt the balance of the guys that are really in the rotation right now, in the thick of it. Maybe more some of those fringe players.
Yeah, I would hate to lose somebody like Johnny Perez, but like you said, he's not in the first 11. I mean, he's probably in the top 18 for sure, but he's probably wishing he could play every day as well. But yeah, watch the space, guys. We'll give you everything you need to know and updates about Marco Reus. Of course, as soon as it happens, we'll bring you updates. It's very surprising that Galaxy didn't wake us up with an announcement this morning. Look at this man in the retrograde kit, Marco Reus. Who knows if we wake up tomorrow on Friday the 19th and we see finally the announcement, Marco Reus is an LA Galaxy player and he's holding up that retrograde kit. And speaking of this retrograde kit, Ananda, it was a beauty. It was gorgeous. I tweeted, and nobody put my wife onto this, but I tweeted the other day, wife might be mad, but I think I'm in love with someone else. And this kit, the shoes, the jacket, I mean, like the whole ensemble, man, is fire. If you're watching this rather than listening to this right now, we have the pictures up of the 3 Killer Peas in the retrograde kit, and then the original team from '96. The Profe Alex Reese asked Greg Vanny what it felt like seeing this kit. I mean, in the smile that lit up Greg's face. I mean, you could tell the nostalgia was there, man. What was crazy is that the Galaxy launched this kit into space. Ananda, I don't know if you saw this, but they launched the retrograde kit and the original '96 kit into space. Did you catch this video?
You know what? That's the one I missed, and that's like I've heard. I gotta watch it because I have not had time to scroll all of my time. I saw some other stuff that was really cool. Like I said, that playlist, and I was digging that playlist. But was it as fire in? Obviously, I have not seen it in person yet. I didn't.
It was.
I did not.
It was even. It was even better.
So.
It was even better. Like that's the part I heard. I mean, yours is on the way.
I know.
By the time
I'm wearing this one for now because I don't have mine yet. It's coming in the mail hopefully early maybe Monday or tomorrow. Hopefully.
So by the time the Minister of Finance had given me clearance for the expenditure, man, it was sold out.
I know,
sold out, man. So there goes the 30% coupon off. Oh well, I'll get it at some point. I'll just have mad FOMO and watch you guys wearing your really, really cool retrograde kits. But yeah, man, it was gorgeous in person. I mean, it pops. It just like so vibrant, man.
Yeah.
What was really cool about this launch into space is that I don't think anybody else has done this like in any kind of professional sports where they've launched the kit into space. I mean, I was even thinking about like the physics of this. Like, okay, well, there's obviously like wind in space. Like, would it tear after a certain point? Like, how far is it going to go out? Like, would it get into like another solar system and burn up? Who knows? But LA Galaxy director of content Barbara Manningham shared that it was a concept and a conversation that they started having over 2 years ago. So for all you guys that are like, oh, these guys are just like, doing whatever. Nah, it seems like they are really just trying to plan this stuff out, a long time ahead so they can give you the best kind of offerings that they can. I love the tagline of them throwing this into space, de Los Angeles para el universo. Absolutely. And now, de Los Angeles para primer puesto. First place, LA Galaxy. Let's get into this game recap. Ananda, you said sweet.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, I was gonna say to chat too as we're recapping this game. Let me know what your guys is. Well, first of all, if you got the kit, I mean, let us know how it is in the chat. But also, what your favorite pieces that you may or maybe you've bought already and it's on the way. And there's a lot of fire pieces. Like I said, I can't wait to see the details on the kit. But yeah, go ahead and drop that in the chat for sure because I know we're all excited, man. By the way, Robert, are you gonna get maybe a hurtado on the back, or are you just gonna keep it blank?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to go with El Tanque Hurtado again, man. I mean, like, he's El Tanque. I mean, that man made me cry. So
yeah, exactly. And by the way, the video, the launch video for this, right? They did that clip. We talked about that moment with El Tanque, the pass to Kobe Jones for the first ever LA Galaxy goal. And Rob, this is the pregame playlist I was trying to tell you about.
Oh, is that La Macarena?
Dude, Macarena, One Sweet Day, Because You Love Me by Celine Dion. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Do you remember that song, dog? Always Be My Man. By the way, Mariah Carey.
Oh
Yeah, there
man,
it is. Always
they're
be
gonna
my
have.
baby.
Where
Always
is
be,
the
dude.
link for this?
Hey, real quick.
Jesus.
Always be my baby. Dude, Mariah Carey's got 2 bangers on this, man. She was, I guess,
Jeez.
she was it back in the day, back in 1996, for sure. But yeah,
I mean, she's still low
takes
key,
you back,
man.
huh, Papa? Takes you back for
I
sure.
want the link for that playlist. I want to bump it in the car. Really quick shout out to the homie Mike Gray, aka Miggy Grease, who was in the press box yesterday, and we got to hang out, and I had a fantastic time seeing you. He was the man who picked up my tech deck for me, man. Check it out.
Oh, dang, that's sick. Actually,
Yeah.
that might be one of the sickest pieces.
Hey, look at that. Look at that. Sheesh. Doing
Yeah,
kick flips.
but seriously though, like shout out to the marketing team, to the brand team, everyone that was involved with the launch of this. I mean, to me, it's, again, I'm a brand person, right? That's my past life, and to me, all the details to, like, you know, the retro sort of style of all the announcements, all the marketing material, obviously the kits and the merchandising, right? Just everything about it, I think, was 10 out of 10. It was 5 stars. And
The video
like I
with
said,
Jalen and Kobe
like I
polishing the
said,
trophies.
like I said in my tweet, the only thing that's gonna make this kit drop sweeter is if we win a 6-star in this kit.
La sexta. Vámonos.
Exactly. All right.
Vámonos. And your Galaxy's in first place. So they're doing what they have to do to make it possible. Let's get into it. Playing their second match of 3 in a 7-day span, the Galaxy earned a 3-2 victory in front of almost 20,000 fans on Wednesday night. Another midweek game, guys, and another game where you guys showed out. In front of 20,000 fans. Some of these supporter groups did have this punishment hanging over them, but big props to them for making themselves heard. You know what? You missed a little bit of drums, but you didn't miss the soul or the passion. Shout out to the supporters who brought it once again. They made it possible for the Killer Peas, Ricky Puig, Joseph Painso, and Diego Fagundes to each go ahead and contribute to the scoreline and record a goal. And then you have your 12th consecutive home game where the Galaxy score. Gabriel Peck notched 2 assists. With those 2 assists in the win over Colorado, he has now totaled 19 goal contributions this year in 24 matches, 21 of them being starts. I mean, this is a first-year guy, man. First-year guy, and he's out there
Killing
it. He's out there killing it, man. He's recorded a goal or an assist in 10 straight home games. He loves a home game. He joins Robbie Keane as the only player in club history to achieve that feat. He has 16 goal contributions, 8 and 8 in 10 games played at home, and he's one of 5 players this season to record at least 9 goals and 10 assists. And he's in good company. Christian Arango, Lionel Messi, Luciano Costa, and Evander, who we'll talk about a little bit later. So the Galaxy remain unbeaten in 11 games at the Digs. In the win, Mark Delgado, who we spoke about a little bit earlier, sign him up, Will Kuntz. Sign him up, Will Kuntz. 4 of 6 tackles, 7 of 11 duels, and 4 possessions in the win. John McCarthy made 7 saves, including 5 stops in the second half. He came up big again. I saw a tweet the other day, yesterday actually, saying if this was Jonathan Bond in goal versus John McCarthy, we'd probably have 8 to 10 less points at the moment. I know that Ananda has brought up the stat a couple of times of how many goals John McCarthy saved. I believe last time we saw it was 5. So imagine 5 well-placed goals that this man has saved. He potentially has saved all those points. Who knows? In his first start of the 2024 campaign, Mauricio Cuevas, all smiles in yesterday's presser. He won 6 of 9 duels, 4 possessions, recorded 2 interceptions, created 1 chance, and completed 90% of his passes. Should have had a couple of assists of Galaxy players had been on the end of some really, really good crosses. Greg says he fizzes a ball in, and boy, does he ever.
And should have had a goal. Just like Chris says here. Should have had a goal. And that's like the sour note of the game that I don't really I don't want to even like spend a breath on it because I want to talk about the positives. But yeah, dude, this guy
laughed. He just laughed. Like we made sure to ask him about it, but he was like, yeah, it was funny, huh? It was crazy, huh? Like he just laughed about it.
Yeah. Basically,
you know what? Yeah. No, it's the officiating was horrendous on that and on the penalty for Colorado's second goal.
Yep.
But anyway, let's get into this lineup. What do you think of what Greg put out there yesterday?
Yeah, well, actually, I wanted to get your quick thing because I do want to actually focus on not necessarily sort of the lineup, and this is provided to us now by Galaxy PR. So I'm going to use this now, Rob, because I want to give a shout out and mentions to Kevin and the staff there for putting all this stuff together. So, yeah, man. I mean, it's a 4-2-3-1 on paper. We talked about too, like if he would go with JP or if he'd start Barry, and I think both of us was like Miguel Berry, but in the end he stuck with it. And you know what? I think just trusting Greg, I think he kind of knows what he's doing there, because obviously this time it worked, and I think like we said last time, it was less about the personnel, it's just more about the energy level, and we're not ready for that game. Obviously the big change was Mickey on the left and Mauricio on the right, and I think Mauricio has deserved this start, right? He's been playing really, really well, I think, the last couple of games. And, this is a positive for me, man. Greg is giving his guys chances and shots.
Rewarding them.
And rewarding them. And this is really positive, not only from a man manager perspective, right? Just one-on-one and sort of building up their confidence, but it shows the team that, your hard work and your good play gets rewarded, right? So that's positive. That's a positive effect, positive halo, I think, on the rest of the team as well. What about you, man? When you saw this lineup, what'd you think?
Yeah, I was like, Mickey, where? But other than that, not a lot changed. So besides Mauricio Cuevas getting a start, and like you said, it was deserved, and I felt like it was deserved. So I didn't have any qualms about it. I believe it was the Profe Alex who said that he was giving off Julian the Narajo vibes, and yeah, man, I mean, he's getting forward really, really well. So it's a pleasure to watch him play right now. He looks like he's enjoying himself and he's having fun, and I love to see that. But no, I mean, other than that, I mean, it was what we thought. I mean, like, it was either going to be Miguel Berry up there and in the same 4-3, or he was going to stick with the same lineup, and he stuck with the same lineup, and it paid off for him. I mean, there was points in the first half that the Galaxy were getting the ball up to the 3 DPs, the killer Ps, and it was basically them 3 against 6 Colorado players, and they were having their way, and it was fun to watch. But yeah, man, I mean, it's nice to see that Greg has options and can count on people like Mauricio Cuevas.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking about Mauricio Cuevas, one of the things I wanted to highlight was not necessarily how we started the game, but just sort of how this. I mean, it looks like a 4-2-3-1 on paper, but honestly, like in actuality, I'm loving what I'm seeing in terms of sort of the tactical flexibility and the spots that Greg is putting these guys in. And, guys, just a little, if you haven't checked out any of the tactical videos yet, or the first one, I'm going to give you just a little bit of taste of sort of what we do and look at, sort of the tactics. But I want to show you guys just Mau Cuevas, and I wanted to wax lyrical about this guy. I thought he played an amazing game, but it was interesting to see in the build-up, especially in the build-up phases of the attack, what positions that he was taking up. I mean, guys, look at this. This is in the 23rd minute. You see that basically when we build up like a 3-4-3, right? It's a straight back 3. You see Mauricio Cuevas' position. He's not in the right back slot at all. He's pinching in, trying to create these overloads that you see here, because once Jalen or whoever, I think that's Jalen there, once he makes that pass, he breaks that line, and now you're 3v2, right? And Greg, what have we talked about this year? Greg likes those numerical oppositions, or he likes outnumbering folks in certain areas of the pitch. And even it's funny, Mauricio,
time advantages.
Yeah, that's right. A time advantage and numerical advantage. You even see Mau Cuevas there pointing to the right because he sees the defender right in front of there. He's looking behind him to see who he should cover. Mauricio is like, hey, the space is on the right with Gabriel. But again, like, he's a right back that's not necessarily in that right back position, right? But you see this. A minute later, the ball recycles. We change the point of attack to the other side. And now look at where Cuevas is. He's in that number 10 position. And now in that traditional box midfield that we've talked about, Rob, that 3-2-2-3 with Ricky and Edwin. I think Ricky's been operating a little bit more deep in that box midfield. But look at that. As soon as Ricky breaks that line, now you've got another numerical advantage on the other side, 2v1 with Diego and Mark against against the right back. Or if, JP cuts in, now he's drawing away the defenders. So really, really interesting. Again, tactically, like Mauricio, depending on where the point of attack is, he's going to switch his position and create those numerical advantages. And for such a young kid, that's awesome, man. Like, he's starting to really, really be a smart player, be a seasoned player. And look at this. This is in the second half now. You look at Mauricio Cuevas in the right wing position, man. He's even further ahead than Gabriel Peck, who's on the bottom of your screen there, which is crazy, right? And it's funny because if you look at the space here, Gabriel Peck, all he needs to do is just kind of go inside, and now you've got a 3v2 with JP at the tip of the spear against their center back and the left back. And it's interesting when this play develops, Rob. Gabriel Peck, this was at a time where I think you could kind of see it from the crowd, I believe. And, the Galaxy were trying to manage this game and kind of see this game out. He told Jalen, hey, settle it down. Let's recycle. When this play actually develops, it's interesting because Ricky puts a ball over the top to, I believe it was Gabriel Peck, and it leads to a JP chance, which unfortunately he didn't get a shot on goal. But it's interesting, just like all these positions. Again, we're so tactically flexible in the attack. And Mauricio Cuevas, whoever's that right back, actually, this game is Mauricio Cuevas. Last couple of games have been Mickey. He'll pinch in the midfield. He'll go right wing. He'll go into the number 10. He'll go wherever they need to go to create that organization and balance, but also get those numerical advantages that Greg always talks about. So really interesting, man, just how flexible this team is.
Well, what I love about this is that, like you mentioned, it's been Mickey a lot because, that's his position. But Mickey's, I believe, 29 or 30. I mean, he's a seasoned veteran. He's a pro, right? Mauricio Cuevas is beginning his career. He has a couple years under his belt. And one of the things that you brought up about being the mark of a good coach is, does he make the player better? Is he, learning new things? Is he developing as a player? And it's evident that Mauricio Cuevas is learning under Greg Vanney. Not only is he learning how to be a traditional right back, but he's learning new formations and new systems, just like you were able to highlight right here. So Mauricio Cuevas, he's all smiles, like I said in the presser. You could tell he's soaking it up like a sponge. He's happy. He's enjoying his football. He's enjoying being able to contribute. And on that note, thank you so much for all you guys in the chat for contributing and hitting those likes. XPH, we see you out there. Scott W, thank you so much for putting the people on. Minister of Likes today for show. Man, we can't do it without you guys. Tamamos. But yeah, this is basically what you want to see from Greg Vanney, man. You want to see him developing young players, and that's why it'll be kind of a bummer of Johnny Pettis doesn't find his way here in Los Angeles, and they need to send him out somewhere. But guys, that was your lineup there. Of course, we have mentioned how this one was a little bit tighter than it needed to be, especially with the Galaxy blitzkrieging Colorado in the first half. Of course, the Galaxy opened the scoring in the 12th minute with Gabriel Peck's pass over the top to Diego Fagundes. Fagundes chests it down, and he hits the volley for his 4th goal of the year. Unfortunately, the Galaxy were not to get the shutout. A man that they know oh so well, named Kevin Cabral, streaks into the box, gets onto the pass, and he scores his 5th goal of the year. We definitely called that Cabral was going to score, and he did. Unfortunately, he got hurt on the play, and one of the things that Mike Gray and I were kind of remarking on it was that people were booing this man, and I don't really think that he deserves boos. I don't think he did anything to deserve boos. He wasn't ever disrespectful to the Galaxy kit. Last time he was here, he did score, but he wasn't obnoxious. I don't know. I'm not for it, but anyway, the Galaxy are tied 1-1 after that Cabral goal. And then just a couple moments later, the Galaxy get another one back. This was just an incredible individual play by Gabriel Peck, who gets by a couple Colorado defenders to put it on a plate for JP. He needed this one, Ananda. He had been a couple games where he hadn't been playing to his best. If you really look at his game, he probably had a couple chances that he would want back. However, he does get this goal to put the Galaxy up 2-1, and we finally got to hear you and I again in the stadium. Yes, Raquinho.
Oh,
Yes,
I saw that.
yes, exactly. We got to hear you and I in the stadium all loud. We got to see JP smile, and it was glorious. And then just a couple moments later, JP goes from scoring the goal to turning provider. He sets up Ricky Puig for just a casual pass into Steffen's goal. Zach Steffen just flails himself at it, can't do anything about it, and Ricky Puig hits the golf shot in celebration. And that's where we thought they would go into the half at 3-1. At that point, I was getting my tweet ready saying all the Galaxy need to do is manage this game now. Unfortunately, this ref, man, he had himself a game, gives 7 minutes of extra time. From where? I have no idea. But he gives 7 minutes of extra time. In those 7 minutes, Colorado earns a penalty. A lot of people saying it wasn't a penalty. I personally think it was. Yamane does tug on the shirt. It was a cruel penalty, kind of harsh, but it was a penalty. Got to keep it legit. Promised you guys I would always keep it legit with you guys and call it how I see it. For me, it was a penalty. Yamane gives it up.
The same token. On the same token, though, we've seen Maya get grabbed, shirt tugged and basically bear hugged in the box,
all day.
And nothing gets called. So that
all day.
I'm going to be petty and bring that up.
No, all day. No, you're absolutely right. The one thing about this is that like somebody very wise once told me, like, hey, he got caught, the others didn't. Right. So that's what it is. Mickey gets caught, he gives up the penalty, and man, I was really hoping John McCarthy would stop this, and he did. Only Vines, sorry about that. Cole Bassett encroaches into the penalty box, and he gets the shot off, the rebound, and he scores. This one is not reviewed. This one is not even checked. Apparently, we're just letting players encroach in the box now and letting those goals stand. So, again, two horrible mistakes here in the first half by the referee, disallowing Mauricio Cuevas' goal, where he should have played advantage, and letting this penalty goal stand after Bassett encroaches. So your Galaxy go into the half 3-2. And at that point, like I said, it was nervy. But they came out into the second half and took care of business. And, we're able to see the game out. And that's what you like to see, a professional performance where they manage the game. Ananda, bring up those stats that led to this victory.
Yeah, pretty interesting, actually, when I looked at it just as I was posting the graphics here. But, Galaxy in the blue, Colorado in the, I guess, maroonish burgundy. So 54% possession to the Rapids, 46. Rapids had a little more XG. I think in the second half, they definitely poured it on. We had a large portion of that in the first half. In the second half, it was mostly Colorado. But again, we held on. 16 total shots for the Galaxy to the Rapids, 13. 9 shots of theirs were on target with 6 big chances, man, but they missed 4 of them. Meanwhile, Rob, we had 8 shots on target, 2 big chances, but we took our chances. It looks like, at least the big ones, we took them. Of course, some really, really sweet finishing. Really, I mean, it didn't count as a big chance, but that JP one really should have been a big chance, right? When it rolled under Steffen's legs and JP just did it. But again, we've got to take our chances, and they were 3 very, very clinical finishes, and that's gonna win you game any day of the week. 572 accurate passes to 464 for the Rapids. So, but again, that number was a lot bigger in the first half. I think in the second half, Colorado did outpass us. Again, they were a little bit more on the front foot because they were chasing the game. 11 fouls committed for the Galaxy to Colorado's 8, and 5 corners to our 4. So, I mean, I think it was a little bit, the game looked even if you looked at the end of match stats, but again, it was a little bit of a tale of two halves in the fact that in the second half, Absolutely. I think we were more just, we were pressing for a goal, but I think Greg said it in the post-game presser. When we tried to break out, we were a little bit impatient on some of those breaks. I think we could have just made the right pass on some of those. We were cleaning through on goal. And to be fair, man, we got a little lucky. They missed some big chances. I think about that Sam Vine one in the 80 some odd minute. I just literally whiffed it. He was in the box. It was a good sort of build up play from them, and we got lucky. And of course, John McCarthy came up with some big saves as well. So yeah.
Well, all I got to say about that is, like you said, it was a tale of two halves. The Galaxy in the first half were patient. You saw that on the first goal. Gabriel Peck picks his head up, takes a moment to spot the run from Fagundes, and he hits him. Third goal for Ricky Puig. JP gets all by himself on the right after bringing the ball down and tracking the ball down. Sees Ricky coming in, hits him. On both occasions they were patient and got a goal from it. Not so much in the second half, just like we heard Greg said. But let's look at some season stats here for the Galaxy. In 11 matches played at the Digs this year, they hold an 8-0-3 record, 27 goals for, 15 goals against. They have scored first in 14 to 25 matches this year. Per corner of the Galaxy, to piggyback off that last stat, when they score first, they have a record of 11-1-2 this season and have scored opponents 34 to 17. In 2023, they scored first just 11 times. 19 times they were scored on first last year. Pretty much last year when the Galaxy got scored on first, it was going to be an automatic L. The Galaxy has led at halftime in 8 of 25 games so far this year. In 8 games played dating back to June 15th, they hold a 6-2-0 record, and they are tied for first in MLS with RSL and Inter Miami with 9 games with 3 or more goals scored this year. And then, again, we talk about our DPs here. In 11 matches played at home, Gabriel Peck has tallied 7 goals and 8 assists. JP has 8 goal contributions, 4 and 4 in 9 matches. And Ricky Puig has 4 goals and 5 assists in 9 matches played at home. When they play like this, Ananda, it's hard to beat the Galaxy when all 3 of these players are playing the way they played. It's absolutely devastatingly hard to go ahead and outgun the Galaxy. And then you have all 3 of these beautiful jerseys here: JP, Ricky Puig, and Gabriel Peck on the screen. Shout out to @BeatBloop for the awesome picture. These are your Galaxy DPs, man, and Galaxy can get it done when one of them is firing. Gabriel Peck carried a lot of this recent period. They can do damage when both these players, when 2 of these DPs are firing. There's been a couple occasions when Ricky Puig and Gabriel Peck have played well, or it's been Gabriel Peck and Joseph Paintsel have played well together. But when all 3 are on, Ananda, man, it's going to be tough to beat this team. What have you been thinking about these DPs, man, compared to the DPs we had last year?
I was just gonna say, yeah, but really quick, I know Scott. Good night to Scott, and man, hope you recover well. I didn't realize you were, you're taking some pain meds or anything like that. But hope you are well and hope you recover well. So yeah, man, have a good one, and thanks for stopping by for sure. Yeah, I that's exactly what I was thinking about, Rob, was last year. I mean, I know Josh always puts up those DP utilization numbers, but it's not just about utilizing them and having them being on the pitch, but it's them being effective, right? And you read off some really good stats there. And again, when these 3 are flowing like they are right now, and even, especially when Decky's in the lineup too, and you've got a guy there, a sort of potential golden boot, he's chasing the golden boot, right? A striker with that capacity, just sort of cleaning up the trash, getting those tap-ins, because the other 3 are drawing so much attention. I mean, when you have these 3 playing like this, I mean, like you said, it's unstoppable. And for me as a Galaxy fan, it's really exciting. And you think about adding Marco Royce to that addition, Rob. I mean, that's just an embarrassment of riches for me in the attack, right? And so that's going to
don't be embarrassed about it. Love it.
and that's going to be the interesting thing for me, is when Marco gets in there, how does he sort of fit into all that? The great thing is, and one of the things I'll talk about in the video for sure, is his versatility. He's a very versatile player. He's a very smart player, and he can play. He's one of his strengths is sort of creating space for himself and for his teammates. So I think he can play anywhere in the park, and that's going to be really exciting. And it's going to be a really nice weapon to have. These three with Decky heading into the playoffs, along with an experienced guy like Marco Royce. So man, just really excited more than anything.
Yeah. When you throw Decky into the mix, you have 4 players that are approaching 10-10 this year, which is fantastic.
Crazy.
I don't think there's been 2 players on the Galaxy that have hit 10-10 for the past couple years. So this is exciting. I mean, ADP has been involved in 8 of the last 9 Galaxy goals. The only one that hasn't been a ADP involved goal directly anyway was that Mickey Yamane to Mauricio Cuevas with the Miguel Berry dummy. But even that one, I believe Yamane gets the pass from Ricky Puig right before that. Yeah. So I believe he gets a hockey assist on that one. In the match, yeah, exactly. In the match last night, all 3 DPs got an assist. Ricky Puig right now sitting on 7-10. Joseph Paint still 7-7. Gabriel Peck 9-10. They are the only trio of teammates in MLS this year to each have at least 7 goals and 7 assists. And wow. That's contributing to the Galaxy, even when they don't play well, finding ways to win. And then when they lose, being able to bounce back because they are able to rely on these big players to come up and say, you know what? Maya said, big teams, good teams don't lose twice. And then they are able to, come back. And this ethos that they're carrying around with not losing 2 games in a row, I'm loving it. The mentality,
Yeah, I think it's just a sign of a healthy locker room, Rob. We haven't talked about mentality in the last few pods, and that's a really good sign because you know why? I think we're just taking it for granted, right? I think the players are so locked in, they're so focused, but they're working. I mean, this, Rob, like when you're in an office environment, you want to work in a good environment. And this year versus last year, completely different. And you see that, again, we've been talking about you seeing that in the pressers, us seeing it in the crowd. I mean, and it's showing in that next game mentality, like even if there is a little roadblock, if there is a loss or something doesn't go our way, we keep going, we keep at it. And I'm loving that from this team more than anything, is that resilience. We talked about that word resilience a lot. I remember that was one of the words that, our friend Christian in the sort of 100th episode, that he used that word resilience a lot with this team. And we're seeing it, man. No 2-game losing streak yet. That's crazy, right?
Yeah. And you saw it even just in this game. I mean, they were able to bounce back from that Dallas loss, came out with a lot more energy than they showed versus Dallas. Of course, the conditions played a big role in that, but just the same, the Galaxy should have had a better game. They did not do well, and they came out and immediately established themselves on the game and controlled the game. Unfortunately, there was a couple of moments, ref inspired and defense inspired, where they made themselves, they made it tough on themselves again. But in the second half, they clicked back on and they were able to see this game out, and kudos to them for that again. There's been matches where they've been up by 2 goals, and I said, no, this team is going to cough up these 2 goals, and this is going to end in a tie. But in this one, I didn't feel like Colorado was going to get that goal from them. In fact, I always thought they were going to get another one. So big props to their mentality, and big props to them for making your home, Galaxy fans, a bloody fortress this year. They have not lost 11 matches now where they have not lost at the Digs. The unbeaten streak continues. They're averaging 2.25 points per game there, and they've scored 28 goals there versus 19 on the road. So again, supporters, they were carrying the sanction, and man, you missed a little bit of drums, but you did not miss the supporters, because they were there. You could feel them. You could feel the passion, and that's what's also contributing to the Digs being a fortress this year. So the 12th man is getting it done as well. So that's all contributing to the Galaxy being in first place, man. So now that they're in first place, everybody wants to knock off the King, right?
Yeah, that's right. And you know what, man? We only have 9 games left. And we're actually going to leave this one for chat just to kind of close out our talking points here for the reaction. But, I mean, look, we're 2 points ahead. Obviously, we've got a game in hand against Salt Lake and 2 games in hand against LAFC. But you know what they always say, Robert, at least on the other side of the pond, games in hand don't mean anything. Points on the board are what counts, right? So, and they've got to play those games. So we're going to throw this question out to you guys, chat. Do you guys think the Galaxy will and can, not only can, but will they get the number 1 seed in the West? And while you're answering that, we are going to throw up this little thing. I'm sure we're going to come back to this, Rob, and sort of the League Cup break when we look at sort of the 8-game stretch down the stretch in the season, right? But just to kind of help you guys form your opinions, and also let us know, guys, like, yes, and maybe there's a reason why, or sort of why you're thinking that way. But a couple things. Obviously, you look at all these schedules, right? Some interesting things, I think. One sort of couple advantages and a couple of disadvantages, I guess, if you look at the other teams. Rob, the Galaxy have most of their matches, the rest of the matches at home this year. They have 5 of their last 8 at home. LAFC only have 4 of the last 11 at home, and RSL have 6 of their last 10 at home. Some notable fixtures for the Galaxy, of course, that big El Tráfico matchup in September, LAFC at home. I mean, Portland's going to be a tough game, this weekend, but also we have them away, Rob, and also we have Colorado. We have to play them away at their camp as well. LAFC, they've got some tough games as well. Seattle away, which, by the way, Seattle is on a hot streak. I believe they are unbeaten, Rob, in their last 6, if I'm not mistaken. Of course, they have to play us away, and they have to play Cincinnati again, a Supporters Shield winner on the Eastern Conference. And on the RSL side, their schedule is a little bit easier if you look at it on paper, but they do have some notable fixtures: Colorado away and Portland at home. So yeah, we're just going to leave you guys to noodle on that for a second. And yeah, I'm sure we'll come back to this. I'm sure Rob and I will come back to this to you guys when we get into the League Cup break and sort of have a little bit more of a deep dive on, how we finish out the season.
Yeah, leave that one up real quick. One of the things that I'm loving about this is that the Galaxy have a kind schedule, 5 of 8 at home. So,
and it's a fortress, right? It leads back to our last point that we just made. So,
so if you're going off the home, I guess the home form, then that should be 15 points right there of the available 24, so
yeah,
you're picking up 15 points right there. You're on the road against St. Louis, you're on the road against Portland, and you finish the season at Houston.
Yeah.
Which has never been traditionally kind to the Galaxy, finishing the last game of the season at Houston. But I'm calling at least 20 of these 24 points are able to get picked up, man. This is a very not kind, but a very doable schedule. It's kind in that it's at home. It's kind that in that there's a lot of these teams that the Galaxy has already beat. You have a rematch with Austin, the second to last week of the season. You have another El Tráfico. So these are going to be games that, even though they're difficult, even the difficult ones, the Galaxy are going to play because they're going to want that experience going into the playoffs. So it's a 3-horse race into the final 8 games. Galaxy versus LAFC versus RSL.
Yeah, I think some really good points here raised in the chat before we move on, Rob. So RSL still has an unknown DP spot to use, so big transfer window for all teams at the top. That's a very, very good point. Remember, LAFC has Giroud to come in. We've got potentially Marco Royce, so that's going to be really interesting as well to see what transfer movement happens.
Giroud's in.
Yeah.
He signed today.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. Like, any additions in the transfer window, that's going to be a variable. Studio says, don't count your eggs before they hatch. I completely agree. I think one of the things, though, again, us playing less games is going to help our fixture congestion sort of relieve it, right? So we don't have to play as many midweek games as the other team. So I think that'll be an advantage to us as well. But again, the games are not, I'm going to say this, the games are not played on paper. That was just used more of a mental exercise and a thought exercise for you guys to kind of, we're at that point, right? The point is we are starting to scoreboard watch. We are starting to see.
We're looking at points.
We're starting to see if we can get a top seed in the West. Guys, again, the digs of Zima Fortress this year, I would rather play a Western Conference final, even semifinal, at home versus away at an LAFC or an RSL, right? So that's my point there. I think it's really important that the Galaxy keep their heads down. But again, fixtures are favorable, and most of our home games are at home, or most of the 8 games are at home. We've got a tough one coming up, which is actually our 9th game. So the next one's going to be really tough, man. And we'll get to that preview in just a second here.
Yeah, in just a sec here. Jose Ramos had a question. He says, I have a random question. The Spanish broadcasting of the game, they call John McCarthy Jonathan El Explorador McCarthy. Do y'all know if this is a legit nickname? LOL, English broadcasts don't. I have no idea, but you bet I'm going to ask John McCarthy if he knows what that's about. Hey, John, why do they call you El Explorador? And see what he has to say, or if that's just like, a Spanish announcer thing. I've heard them call Kylian Mbappe Donatello the Ninja Turtle. So, who knows if these guys are really breaking out legit nicknames. But anyway, the moment of the match for me, Ananda, I already called it, was the patience on the first and third goals. The official Galaxy moment of the match is a win in the retrograde kit, which made its debut on the night. And man, the thing was a beauty. I got to pick that up soon. Anyway, defending the badge. This one was kind of easy. I mean, it was the 3 DPs and Diego Fagundes. Ricky Puig, he had a 7th goal of the season, created 2 chances. He had 20 passes into the final third and a 91% pass accuracy rating, 7 dribbles, 2 recoveries, 11 duels, was fouled 3 times in the win, and he made the MLS team of the match day bench. Gabriel Peck recorded those 2 assists. He also created 4 chances, completed 4 dribbles, had 1 interception, and won a game-high 7 possessions. He made the team of the week as well as a starter. Joseph Painsil made the bench for the MLS team of the week, just like his fellow DPs. He recorded a goal and an assist in the win over the Rapids. 3 chances created, 1 clearance, 2 recoveries, and 2 duels. And Dieguito, nuestro amigo uruguayo, he scored his 4th goal of the year, created 2 chances, 1 clearance, 1 interception, 5 recoveries, and 3 duels won. And then, since all these gentlemen made the match day of the week, congratulations as well to Greg Vanny for making the match day of the week as well as the manager.
Give him his roses.
And I bet you some people are still going to be like, Vanny out. Give him his flower. Show that graphic. I want to see his smiling face right here. I started asking myself, is this the first one for him as Galaxy boss?
Yeah, probably, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's picked this one up before. I tried looking this one up, seeing like if there was ever a mention of him getting team of the match day for the Galaxy anyway, and not to see maybe in his time with Toronto, but not for the Galaxy. So congratulations to Greg, or as it's Chris says, mi tío Gregorio. Man, if that's your uncle, bro, give me that exclusive interview with Greg. So anyway, congratulations to all those people for making the MLS team of the match day. Now for the defending of the badge, Ananda, who do you have?
I mean, obviously we put up the 3 DPs, we put up Diego. They all had fantastic games, but bro, I've got to give it to Mo Cuevas, man. I got to give it to the kid. I got to give it to the kid. Just from the fact, again, defending the badges, we've always talked about this, right? From the very beginning. Defending the badge is not necessarily, who played the best game. And for me, that was Gabriel Peck. I mean, he was absolutely electrifying. That second goal was just individual brilliance, right? On full display. And that's the ceiling that this guy has. And to me, I think he has the highest ceiling on this team talent-wise, even more than Ricky, arguably. But Mo Cuevas, I mean, you think about where this kid was really in the beginning of the year, right? He wasn't getting that much of a look in. But he stayed with it. Greg's put faith in him. Greg's put him in certain situations. Again, my thing about being risk averse this year, he's always wanted to put his young players in game situations and game states that aren't big pressure, or there's not as much pressure. They can kind of ease into the game, right, and sort of get the rhythm of the game and get the flow of the game. But Greg's been doing a good job, like I said, rewarding this guy with a couple of starts and a few minutes, and his impact has been undeniable. And as I showed in those tactics and sort of how Greg uses that right back in that formation, I mean, he's everywhere, man. He's at right back, he's at the number 10, he's at right wing. He's doing all the things that Greg is asking for him, and with a smile and sort of with a quiet confidence. And again, when I look at this team now going to the playoffs, it's players like this, like Mo Cuevas, who can make the difference in certain games when you need, a right winger to come off the bench when we're chasing a game or when we need to have a game winner. Again, I don't want to bring this up because I remember bringing this up on the last episode or a couple episodes ago, but you have these cult heroes like your Alan Gordons, your Mike McGee's. You may need guys like Mo Cuevas, Rob, and he might be that next cult hero, right? You never know, but these are really good signs from a guy that's performing. So
él siente la camiseta, bro. You got to remember this cat came up in the academy, left, and came back, and now he's getting playing time for the team that he grew up supporting and he came up in the academy. I mean, and like I said, you could tell that he's loving every moment of it. You can tell he's soaking it up like a sponge. You could tell that he's having a good time. He's all smiles in the presser. He's enjoying it. And at the end of the day, it's like our good friend Mo Football said, we all turn into 5-year-olds when we're around the pitch again, or we're on the soccer pitch again. And that's what it is for Mo. And I love that. I mean, he's playing a game, but he's doing it well, and he's doing it very, very professionally.
And he understands the history and the tradition of this club, right? From his answer in the post-match presser about sort of the retro kit and what it means to him personally and his team. So that's, I mean, again, you get that from a guy that, like you said, se siente la camiseta, right? He understands the winning traditions and the winning culture of this club, and I think he gets it.
Nah, no solo eso, bro. But when this guy, when I asked him, like, what are you using like the doubters to kind of like, move the team forward? Like, what do you have to say to the pundits that kind of doubted everybody? And he gave me the stock answer. We don't really pay attention to them. We just go about our business and train and stuff like that. But at the end, he got super intense, and he was like, we just really, really want to win. Like, you could tell, like, he felt it. Like, but he's like, he didn't end with we just really, really want to win. He said, we just really, really want to win for you, for the fans, because they deserve it. And you could tell that it wasn't lip service, it was felt and it was real. And for me, that's why he gets the defending the badge. Of course, we're both wrong, because the people have voted, and they have voted for Gabriel Pecchi. Once again, that is his 5th win this year. So even though Ananda, is that 6th?
Yeah,
sheesh,
racking him up, man. I mean, he's arguably been our best player this year, without a doubt, for sure.
Man, that's 6 wins for him already. Ananda and I go for Mo Cuevas. You folks with 92 million votes have voted Gabriel Pecchi as the defending the badge. Interestingly enough, we had 2 write-ins for Raquinho. They could have both been me, actually. But anyway, looking ahead. Yep. Oh, what are we saying?
Oh, I was going to pull this up because I think it's an interesting one. But why don't we do the standings first, and then we'll go back to this comic, because I think it's a good point that Chris made.
Well, this is going to be the 37th match all time between the Galaxy and the Timbers. They'll be looking for their 3rd straight win at home. They have a 13-11-9 record in league play against Portland. The Galaxy are unbeaten in their last 4 league matches played at home against Portland, and 17 all-time regular season matches played against Portland at the Digs. They hold a 9-3-5 record, and they are unbeaten in their last 6 regular season matches played against the Timbers. Ananda, Galaxy tried twice against the Timbers last year. Do you remember who scored a brace in the second game of the season?
Oh, who? Wait. I thought it was a nil. Was it not 0-0 last year?
No, that was the first one.
That was the first.
That was a snooze fest. It was
boring. I remember that snooze fest. Is it? No, it couldn't have been Doug, right?
Nah. Zavaleta scored a hat trick.
Oh my gosh, that's right. Oh my.
He scored a brace for the Galaxy and then had an own goal, so he scored the world's ugliest hat trick ever. But yeah, they had 2 ties last year. Which brings us to the standings now. Where
What a
are these
difference
teams?
what a difference a
Yeah,
year makes. My God,
what a
Slava,
difference a year
anyways.
makes, man. I know. Well, the Galaxy through 25 matches, like we said, are in first place, 13, 5, and 7, 46 points, and in first place in the West. 2 points ahead of LAFC and RSL. LAFC has 2 games in hand. RSL has 1 game in hand. The Galaxy are now third in the Supporter Shield, Supporter Shield standings, 4 points behind. New leaders, once again leaders, Inter Miami, 1.84 points per game earned by the Galaxy, and they stayed in the same spot in the MLS Power Rankings, number 6. I think that the Galaxy could win MLS Cup, and the MLS would Power Rankings would probably still say they're in 6th spot or like 3rd spot or who knows. I think the Galaxy would probably have to win like the Club World Cup or something like that for them to get first spot from MLS Power Rankings. But I digress. Portland, where are they? 24 matches played, a 10, 8, and 6 record. They, if the Galaxy are complain about the fact of that they give up, a goal here or there, is putting it diplomatically. Portland has an even worse conceding record. They've given up 39 goals this year, scored 48. They're conceding more than the league average in goals, 1.63 to 1.56. And really, the time to get at this team, Portland, that is between the 30th and 60th minute, Ananda, where they've conceded 17 goals in those 30 minutes, in that 30-minute span. So the time to get at Portland is at the end of the half and at the beginning of the half. Something about their concentration going in and out of the half, it's just not there. So the Galaxy need to go ahead and take advantage of those mental lapses. On the road, Portland has a 3-3-6 away record. They're 7th in the West and 12th in the Supporter Shield on 36 points. They're earning 1.5 points per game. They're 7th in the MLS Power Rankings, just behind the Galaxy, jumping up from 9th. Their last match played was a 3-0 win at home, a demolition really, on Real Salt Lake. Uncharacteristically for Real Salt Lake. That match was on July 13th, which makes Portland 2 matches unbeaten now. And they're one of the teams, you mentioned Seattle, but all the Cascadia teams are doing pretty well actually right now. Seattle, Portland, and Vancouver. Portland has only 1 loss in the last 10 games, Ananda. So they've quietly Phil Neville's quietly made his team play, man. Shout out Phil Neville, whose brother Gary Neville shares a dad named Neville. Did you know that? Did you know their dad was named Neville?
No, but the less about ex-United players, the better. Moving on.
Hey, man, don't you disrespect Gary and Phil and their dad Neville.
I will, because Gary Neville said that Cucurella, the reason why Spain wouldn't win is for players like Cucurella.
I saw that.
Absolutely, it was beautiful.
Battered him.
Anyways.
Yeah, he battered him. All right, so like I said, only 1 loss in the last 10 games for Portland. They can score goals well, 16 goals in the last 6 games. They're ranked 4th in goals scored per match with 2. However, on the road where they will be facing the Galaxy, they were playing at the Digs. They have lost 6 of 8 of their losses have been on the road, rather. And they've only scored in 9 of 12 of their away matches. It's a marked difference when they're at home to away. At home, they're averaging 2 points. On the road, they're averaging 1 point. And they also don't defend well when they go up on the road. They've taken the lead 20 times and have conceded an equalizer on half of those occasions. So they aren't taking the leads and taking care of those leads. They've conceded or allowed an opponent to get back into the game half of the time. Ananda, what do we have for injuries?
Let's bring this up here. So yeah, I mean, I think for the Galaxy again, Greg, since it's a quick turnaround, no sort of presser. I don't think he's having a presser, right, Rob? But for what we know,
no
far,
presser.
Of course, from the last sort of injury report that Greg gave. We know that Dayon is out. Gaston just got his green card, but I don't know if there was an update or if anyone asked in the presser, Rob, because I didn't catch the whole thing about Gaston, sort of when he's slated to return.
He is back in training for on the field work, but there's no real timetable for his return. Okay. I think that, you said it a bunch of times, Greg is risk adverse.
Yeah.
I think that if he doesn't need to bring him back, he's not going to. If he can go ahead and get all the way through the League's Cup without using him, I'm pretty sure he'll do that too. But yeah, he's back on the field, just no timetable as opposed to Dayon, where there's actually a timetable for him to return. I mean, he's going to be back on the field and training, Greg said, around the start of the League's Cup. I don't believe we'll see Dayon for a League's Cup either.
Yeah. And then Julian's probably going to be shut down until we'll see him after League's Cup.
Definitely.
Definitely situation. But yeah, other than that, and then Portland looks like a pretty clean bill of health. Other than Marvin Loria, again, we don't have anyone from the Portland side today, so we don't know about sort of their latest. But again, this is the one thing that we've got to keep in mind, Rob, that they did not have a midweek game, and we are, right? So they're coming into this pretty fit in terms of and rested. In terms of that perspective. So yeah, that's definitely a consideration that we got to have, especially for our predictions.
What do you think this is going to do to the Galaxy's lineup? Do you think that we might see John Nelson back in the lineup and Mickey Yamane returns back to his original position?
Yeah, it could be. Although, man, we talk about why fix it while it's broken, right? I thought that the combination of Mickey and Mo Cuevas, again, that sort of dynamicism that Mo Cuevas brings. And remember, we're coming up against a very sort of speedy, athletic, very potent front four, Robert. And they are, they have a lot of athletic speedsters on their team, Santi Moreno, et cetera, which we'll talk about. So maybe having that added sort of recovery pace of Mo Cuevas. You saw that in a couple instances. He has that sort of burst. He has that acceleration to, for that recovery pace. And I think that's going to be a good asset to have on either of the flanks. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start with the same starting 11.
Well, I'm imagining the battle right now, Mo Cuevas versus Santi Moreno. That should be an interesting one. Yeah, Portland's played pretty much most of this year with that 4-2-3-1. You mentioned their attacking front four. I mean, is lethal. I mean, they're pretty much always starting with Jonathan Rodriguez, Evander, Santi Morena, and mostly Felipe Mora, but somebody might be filling in for him on occasion. But what are the stats we need to look out for in this one, Ananda?
Yeah, let me pull those up now. Let me see. Man, slow on the buttons today. Here we go. So stats. All right. So I mean, it's interesting, Rob, because coming to this game, I think a lot of these stats for Portland. The one thing that we got to point out is Portland has gotten better throughout the season, and they are a pretty darn good offensive team for sure. We're going to talk about their front four and sort of the attackers and the difference makers that they have on their side. But, LA Galaxy from an XG perspective, 44.8. Portland Timbers not that far behind at 38.6. That's 7th in the league. Shots on target per match, LA Galaxy at 5.8. Portland Timbers at 5.0. Big chances. Portland's created 65 big chances. The Galaxy only 5 more, right, at 70. So they are a very potent offensive team. And again, they've got a lot of difference makers. And I think the health of Evander this year, the continued development of Santi Moreno, Mora, like those guys are, and we've seen it too against that 3-0, in that 3-0 demolition of RSL. I mean, they are fit and firing at the moment. And then defensively, I think this is probably an area improvement for them, but I will point out one stat, Rob. Successful tackles per match. LAFC leads that in the league. And I've talked about LAFC sort of aggressive, especially midfield and defense, but Portland not that far behind. So what this tells me is we're going to come up against a combative team, a team that has legs, a team that sort of gets around and gets stuck in, right? So
they're
this is one of
going to knock Ricky down a lot, is what you're saying?
Well, again, we thought that was going to be the case with Colorado as well, but we found ways to play around them. So we're going to have to do the same in this match as well. But again, this is something for us to look at. Again, I think it's interesting though. You brought up that road stat. They aren't as good on the road as they are at home. So I'm not sure if maybe, I remember Matt on the last pod saying about Colorado that Chris Armas has adopted a little bit more of a pragmatic approach away from home. I don't know if we're going to see the same case with Portland, but it's going to be one to watch out for sure, because from a trend perspective, it looks like a team that gets stuck in defensively.
I would be willing to bet that they're not going to take the same Chris Armas approach and be pragmatic. I mean, I was watching a Phil Neville interview this morning, and I mean, from what he says, I mean, they're gonna come out and look for the game. I mean, he very much thinks that that his team is better than the Galaxy. I mean, he pretty much said as much about Evander. He says that Evander's the best number 10 in the league, and then maybe it's Ricky. He said so. There's going to be these players that are fit and firing, like you said, that are playing well, and I don't think that Neville's going to put a leash on them. I mean, danger man for Portland. I mean, since we're speaking about him, Evander's just been fantastic this year. He is an all-star as a coach of selection, 19 matches, 11 goals, and 10 assists. And yeah, I mean, he's scored a cracker of a goal a couple of times this year already. So this is actually the guy that I'm most scared of on this team, along with Santiago Moreno, who we spoke about a couple different times last year. Ananda was even making a pitch for him for the Galaxy to sign him when it seemed like Santiago Moreno was not happy in Portland. But the right winger has 22 matches under his belt, 5 goals and 10 assists, and man, his speed is just tremendous. I mean, hopefully one of these Galaxy wingers is going to occupy him a little bit and get him a little tired. And it's like you said, Ananda, can one of the Galaxy wingers occupy him to the point where he's not able to do or develop his offensive game in this match. Then you have the other contributors, like I mentioned. You have Felipe Mora there. He has 20 matches under his belt, 11 goals, 4 assists. Jonathan Rodriguez has 11 goals, 4 assists. And then Anthony, not that one, not the United Anthony.
Not spinning top.
Not spinning top. Anthony. The Portland Anthony has 4 goals and 4 assists. So, I mean, they also have a couple of players that, could potentially reaching the 10 and 10. I mean, at the very least, Santiago Moreno, Jonathan Rodriguez, and Felipe Mora could get there. They're a little bit closer than Anthony. And then, for the Galaxy, it's kind of easy. The 3 DPs, they have to perform for the Galaxy to get this game. You'll have your contributors and important players like Diego Fagundes and Mauricio Cuevas, but we spoke about it earlier. If the DPs are on, if the killer Ps are on, it's going to be really, really hard for the Portland Timbers to win this game. And I think it's time for predictions. We're pretty close anyway. Chat, start dropping those predictions in the chat. Let us know what you think. Who's going to win this match? But before we get there, Ananda, go ahead and give us those Vegas betting odds. Bet responsibly.
Yes, sir. So Galaxy are at a minus 145. That's about a 58-ish% chance of winning. Again, they are the home team. Portland is at a plus 290. That's about a 28%. Again, for a road team, that is not bad. Again, they are a team on the rise. But of course, the Galaxy have the odds here. But again, not too bad for a road team. Like I said, usually road teams, in the low 20s, something like that, high teens. So pretty decent odds. I think. Look, for me, this is going to be a tough game, man. For a few reasons. I'm not going to get in my prediction, but they are a good team, and teams like this typically, again, not necessarily them on the transition, although they can hit you on the transition. Like fast, athletic teams give us a lot of problem, and Portland is that for sure. And they've got a rugged midfield. I think Williamson's come into that midfield as well and sort of pitched in, whether that's in the sort of double pivot position or in the number 10 as well. And they move Evander, so they can move around a lot of pieces. And again, the other thing is you guys got to consider, we just played a game on Wednesday. These guys are coming in off of a week's rest. Yes, they are flying. It's a short flight from Portland to LA.
It's like, what is that, like an hour and a half, 2 hours?
Exactly. So this is, again,
3 maybe?
This is going to be a tough game. And, well, I don't want to get into my prediction, but this is going to be vital for us to sort of kick us off into a good light heading into Leagues Cup for sure.
Well, it is going to be a tough match, but there's going to be goals in this one. Portland concedes more goals than the Galaxy concedes. So I imagine it's going to be an arms race, basically, in this one. There's going to be a lot of goals in this one. So let's get into it, Ananda. I went first last time, so te toca.
Me toca, pero como siempre, chat always goes first. So
La gente, vámonos.
Tony Toscano, 2-1 Galaxy. Jose Ramos, 4-3 Galaxy. Wow, goal fest. That would not be good for my heart rate, but that works. Galaxy win. I'm going to say 3-2 Galaxy. That's what Chris says. GCam. So I will refrain from making prediction this week. Last time I made one, we lost 2-0. I wish the team the best. Fatigue will be a huge factor. Yeah, I
admire the restraint.
By the way, shout out to you and Big Tony for the correct prediction on the last game, Robert. That was a 3-2. You both made that prediction. And so well done. Congratulations. So this is my prediction, right? Oh, man. I see, this is one of those head and heart things again. So my heart is going to say actually the same score line as yesterday, 3-2. I think my head's going to say 3-3. Again, this is, I don't know. I'm a little worried about this one in that Portland, like I said, is a good team. And we have trouble typically against teams like this. But I think our quality will still show. I think the 3DPs are going to be on fire again. I think that momentum is going to carry through. But it's just that threat, man. Evander's been really, really good this year. As you guys saw in the stats, we're not a team that makes a lot of tackles in midfield, right? So if they get at us at our back four, I mean, they have the quality. They have the finishers. You know, it's funny when I think about Santi Moreno, he reminds me a lot of Andres Gomez, but with a lot more end product, right? He has the same speed, the same physical attributes, but just more end product. And that's what scares me about this Portland team is they have the end product, unlike, you know, maybe another opposition. So heart pick 3-2, head pick 3-3.
Well, I'm going for the heart. I'm saying 3-2 again. I'm going to keep it where I kept it for the last match, when I was right with the homie Tony. 3-2. Let's let it ride. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So 3-2 it is for me. Rocio, the one and only, says the Galaxy wins 2-1. It looks like everybody is calling a Galaxy win from everybody's lips to the Lord's ears. G-Cam says we need to have the Gala chug 3 Red Bull energy drinks at halftime. Man, I would be interested to see what that cat looks like on 3 energy drinks. I mean, someone the other day called him 4 lungs. I mean, I had 3 lungs, but 4 lungs. We're just giving him lungs now. Yeah.
By the way, I am going to officially change it to like a 3-2. Like, I'm going to be confident about this because Chris brings up a good point. Home is where the heart is. Ours is at the digs. Rob, you said even for a midweek game, that was a really, really good turnout. Even with all the, you know, things going on with the supporter groups, I have a feeling that Saturday is going to be a really good turnout. Again, it's going to be a weekend game. It's a Saturday game. You know, the vibes are going to be good. And again, this is the last game heading into Leagues Cup. I'm assuming it's going to be, you know, a really, really rocked house, a packed house. And I think the support is what's going to carry this team forward and it's going to propel them to that win. So, yeah, I'm going to be confident about the win. Very good point, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, you guys convinced me to not say trap game the other day. So, you know, I'm glad we can convince you for this match. Jose Ramos says, Cuevas brace. Y'all heard it here first. God, I would love that. G-Cam says, I love Chris and Riquinho. I mean, I love Chris and Riquinho too. Saturday is the perfect day to bring out the 4 locos. Dang, Daddy, chill. Woo. Oh man, what the hell is even that?
Hey, the vibes are good, right? The vibes are good, and yeah, hopefully
Exactly.
I will be at the games for sure. At the game for sure. So you guys, if you see Rob or I,
Make Ananda drink a Four Loco. Is that what you're saying?
Oh my God! Don't even start, Papa.
All right. Well, let's bring it on home, guys. After Portland, the Galaxy is off for 11 days until the start of the League's Cup. But of course, you can catch the Portland Reaction Pod on Monday, July 22nd at 9 p.m. We will be with you on Monday as regularly scheduled. The first game of the League's Cup is Wednesday, July 31st at 7:30 p.m. against the old rival San Jose Earthquakes in another edition of the Cali Clásico. Of course, we will bring you that San Jose preview pod on Monday, July 29th. Stick around for more info on the 25th, on Thursday the 25th pod. We hope to have a special guest for you that evening.
Ooh. Chris, you had me ice cold. I will be at the Lars tailgate probably, so come find me, Papa. Come find me.
See Ananda, drink Four Loco. There we go. Well, I think that's it from us. Ananda, do you have anything to add before we get out of here?
Yeah, I always give the last word to Chow. Really quick, I wanted to come back to this because this is a really good point made by Chris earlier. So I think right now with the players we have, the Galaxy are blessed to have the players we do that are able to play countless positions, which makes us somewhat predictable to our foes. And this is what I'm saying. I think, the outlook for this team is really good heading into this game and the last 8 games after League's Cup. Right, we've got, and then especially with incoming signings like Marco Royce, we've got players that not only can play countless positions, but can play them well. Right, we've seen Mokueba sort of move around in that last game, like I told you about. We've seen Miki play right back, play your left back. We've seen the wingers invert. Right, so I think it's a really, really good point, man. And this is what gives me confidence in this team, and hopefully chasing that number 1 seed in the West. Let's make it happen, Galaxy. Let's go.
That's a good note to end on, guys. If you're here, it's because you found us on youtube.com/@LacunaGalaxiana. And thank you so much for doing so. Los amamos a todos. Gracias por estar con nosotros otra vez. Man, we can't do it without you guys. One thing left to say.
Yep.
Jesus. Raquinho.